Hi, I'm Margaret. In this video, we're diving into a powerful feature in Puppet Facts. Whether you're managing hundreds of servers or hundreds of thousands of servers, facts are what makes your Puppet code aware and adaptable to the systems it's managing. We're going to talk about what facts are, how Puppet uses facts to gather data in real time, and how they can be used to standardize, have more dynamic code, and give you visibility across your estate. Tony?
Thanks as always, Margaret. Welcome everyone. My name is Tony Green, and today we're going to be taking the next step in our journey around Factor. In an earlier video, we talked about what Factor is and how useful it can be. And that's true. Factor is a phenomenally useful tool, but its real strength comes when you start to extend it. You'll see a lot of custom modules that you may download from the Forge extend Factor out to do new things. But that's not just limited to people who are writing Puppet code for the Forge. That can be done internally by your own teams as well. Factor can actually be anything from a simple text file, YAML file, JSON file containing keys, all the way up to a fully executable binary which outputs things in the right format. So you can take a look first of all at structured facts. So structured facts are very basic, as we see here. They can be YAML data, JSON data, even text files. So I'm a Unix guy, I'm quite old, I'm just going to look at the text files for now because it makes life nice and easy. So to show how we would use these, within your modules you can have a directory called facts.d that will, all of this is detailed within this document which we will link to. Having the information in your modules facts.d directory means it will get synced down by module sync and plugin sync. So if you want these facts to be available everywhere without having to manage them too hard, that's definitely the way to go. But I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut now because I want to just do some demos. So what I'm going to do is go into a directory etc Puppet Labs factor facts.d. Now that's one of the default locations, may not exist on your server, but if you do create that directory, you will be able to put facts in there. Obviously we don't recommend just putting facts in without managing them, but for the purpose of this demo, we're just going to try it. So inside that directory, I have a file called test.txt. If I have a look at that file, I can see it just has my fact equals special. And if I now run factor minus p by underscore fact, I get the value special. Not only that, if I run my Puppet agent, because as part of Puppet, the first thing it does is actually load all of the facts, I'm going to come over here to my Puppet server and look for my underscore fact, and there we go. My underscore fact is special. Now, that is a very, very simplistic way of doing things. However, if you're doing things like provisioning and you have the ability to write data to the file system as part of your provisioning process, we've seen a lot of people be able to use this for things like defining patch windows or information around server owners. Now, to just demonstrate that actually did work, and I'm not just lying to you, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change this to not special, because the fact is this server is just a normal server. So I'm going to say it's not special anymore. The facts are being loaded. If I refresh this now, my fact is now not special. Very simplistic way of showing you customized facts. Again, they can be YAML data, they can be JSON data, they can be text files. You can have structured facts, so you can have nesting within them. All of those are available to you. Executable facts are a very similar principle, but they rely on actual code to be executed on the server. Again, they can live inside the facts directory of your modules and be distributed out. And as long as the client can execute them, then the facts will run. So in this case, a Python script is being run. You can have PowerShell, you can have various other things. Now, obviously, when you're writing executable facts for Unix or Windows, you need to make sure that those facts aren't being distributed to the wrong servers, because PowerShell you might not have the right interpreters there to be able to run them. If you are running executable facts, one of the most common ways of approaching that in a more stable and predictable way is to actually write custom facts within Puppet. That uses the effectively the Ruby backend for Puppet. It's one of the very few places these days that you may actually experience having to write Ruby code in Puppet, which allows you to actually do much more detailed creation of a fact. So when you're writing custom facts, it's a little bit out of scope for a quick video here. We may well do a deep dive into that if there is interest. You will see a lot of external modules will use custom facts to be able to do things. I will give you a quick demonstration of what a custom fact can look like. If we look at the patching module, within there we have a factor directory, and we have the OS patching fact. And we can see right up at the very top, we start checking for factor versions. But there we also then lock down where this fact will run. Now this separates it, as we were talking about before, from custom facts and static facts, because we know that we only want this to run on Linux, Windows and FreeBSD. So make sure, even if it's distributed out to a Mac server or a Solaris or AIX machine, this fact won't run. So it gives us that ability to be able to control things a lot more tightly. The last type of fact that you'll come across in Puppet is actually called a trusted fact. Now, trusted facts are very interesting and are being used more and more. On any server that you're on, if you have an entry within the Puppet, EC Puppet Labs Puppet directory, or the equivalent on Windows, you may see a file called CSR attributes, certificate signing request attributes. Trusted facts act a lot like normal facts, however they're baked into the certificate for the server. So if I look at this one, for example, my CSR attributes file, it's setting my data center, my role and my environment here. Now, the thing that does differentiate trusted fact from normal facts is if I was to look for a fact called PP data center, I'm not going to wait for it to finish because I know it's not going to find it. Trusted facts are not resolvable from the client. The only place they're resolvable is actually from the server, the Puppet server. So here we can see a trusted area, it's an authenticated fact, and all of the facts there are listed. So trusted facts become really powerful if you want to control access to changing the facts, being overridden. Trusted facts cannot be modified without revoking and re-signing a certificate. So it takes a lot more effort to be able to change them. The other thing you'll notice here is we have an external entry here. Now I currently don't have anything in there, but if you're using certain CMDBs, such as ServiceNow, we actually have an integration with ServiceNow and other tools that mean they can actually provide facts back to Puppet. So if a value changes in ServiceNow, we can reflect that value back into Puppet. Great examples for things like this are patch windows or emergency contacts, who owns the machines, who should be contacted in the event of an outage on the server. It means that you can bake those pieces of information that are just appear as standard facts in your Puppet code to actually map to classification, maybe appear in message of the day, or set your patch windows for advanced patching. So really, really powerful stuff. Again, this is an overview. We're not going to dive too deeply into any of those areas, but if there is interest in doing that, very happy to do another session, please let us know. And if you've got any favourite ways of using Factor we haven't covered, let us know, and maybe we'll do another video. Appreciate your time.